Thanks so much for joining this stream. Make sure you check below and hit the like button and make sure you're subscribed. The lights are on, the cameras are rolling, and we're ready to go live. So make sure you comment and ask as many questions as you can. That makes this experience better and it lets the algorithm know that this is engaging, and so it goes ahead and invites other people into the stream as well. So thank you very much for making this channel what it is. And let's compare some e-ink tablets. All right, warm welcome, and that is exactly what we're going to do. Sorry for the slight delay there. Warm welcome, Joshua. Thank you very much for joining. You've got priority replies, and of course, you've got early access to the videos as well. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon to you all as well. What we're going to do today, good evening to you, is we're going to look at these three. We're going to look at these three combinations, and I've just been interested by this lately. This idea of an e-ink combo, and I've gone for sort of phone-sized and larger e-ink tablet. So yeah, I did have one comment already, and if you go to my channel homepage, and if you go there and you look at the community tab, you'll already see a vote there, and one comment from Ed at Organizing for Change, who said, of course it's Manta and Nomad. Yes, but I wasn't really including that in this because I'm looking at sort of phone-sized and full-sized is what I'm kind of focusing on. So go ahead and have a look at that poll and vote in there as well, and we'll bring that up on screen a little bit later on as well. But which do you think of these three are going to win? I've got the reMarkable and the Move, so reMarkable Paper Pro and the reMarkable Paper Pro Move it's called, and I've got the BooxTab, it's not called Tab, the Boox Note Air 5C and the Palma 2 Pro as well. And on the back there, just showing off its ability to stick on by MagSafe. Got the Plord Note Pro, although that's not really part of this, but thanks very much for the really positive response to the bit of content that I made featuring that today as well. And then I've also got a non-e-ink option. This is the TCL Nxtpaper and the XP pen with its Nxtpaper screen, and I want to talk about these three and their use together, really, because I find this really compelling. You know, all these e-ink companies, they are getting a tablet which is of this kind of size, and yeah, that's exactly what I want you to do. I want you to come in and I want you to have a little bit of an argue in a friendly manner, of course, which one you think is the winner of these. You know, which one also you can say which one do you think I will pick, because that's just interesting, isn't it? And I will give you my pick, but I'll also give you who I think should buy each. So let me know any questions. I'm going to do this in 4 parts. I'm basically going to do pros and cons of the reMarkable Paper Pros. And then we'll get to the other pros, the Palma Pros, and then we'll get to the XP pen and the TCL last. And then I will give you a kind of, you know, who I think should buy each, and I'll give you a full comparison and tell you which one overall I would pick and which one I think is just a winner. So let's have a little look at this first of all. This is the reMarkable Paper Pro. Fire in all your questions and I'll do chat after each little section. Okay, so the reMarkable Paper Pro, the biggest pro about the reMarkable Paper Pro is the paper-like texture. This is, out of all of them, this has got the nicest, the best, most considered paper-like texture. I'm just going to pull it out of its keyboard case. I don't know why that's giving me such a challenge. There we are, because very strong magnets is a priority that they've had with their Paper Pro lineup. I really like this for its paper-like texture, and they have certainly prioritized the paper-like texture. They've also prioritized, and it is still very good, that in black and white, it has the lowest latency of anything. And actually, as you'll see later, it's actually even lower latency to the one non-e-ink that we're going to bring into this comparison here today as well. So I find that absolutely fascinating, that actually it's lower latency than some LCD tablets, depending on their processors. So actually, it's really, really good. They've definitely prioritized this. This is the best capacitive stylus I've ever used. Okay, that does not make it the best stylus I've ever used, but it's the best capacitive one that I have used. And for just using in black and white, it looks really, really good, although it's quite like blue rather than black. But it's very, very good. And actually the kind of, the handwriting tools and the kind of stroke engine, if you like, whatever the processing to get the stroke right is very good, even if they're working with a baseline technology, which has that little bit of wobble that for pen enthusiasts, stylus enthusiasts, it's not ideal, but it is really, really good. The Gallery 3, though, I think is where you start to get a bit let down, because although it's nice, the color is pleasant. You can see generally the screen looks a fair bit yellower than a lot of e-ink does, and I find that's not great. And although it's listed as kind of 20 colors, it's making 20,000 colors by divvying the 9 that it can make natively, and the 9 include the free grayscales as well. And every time it does any color other than black or white, then it has to go ahead and flash. And I think that's an issue with Gallery, and I just don't think that it was the best option for this generation, certainly of tablet. The whole thing is really, really nice. It is really, really thin. It is really attractively made. Just try and make sure I can focus on that edge there for you. It's a lovely thing, a really nice piece of design. And although they lost their kind of world's finished when they released this thing, it's still 5.1 millimeters thick, which is kind of, your thickness of your iPad Pros of the world. It is a very, very thin tablet compared to anything. And actually, they've got the things right, like the world's, it's no longer the world's finished, sorry, pardon me. They've got things right, like a solid battery life. And if I use this every day for sort of my main sort of note-taking use, then I will get about a week with it. Okay, not the 2 weeks that they kind of advertise. I will get like 1 working week. And that tends to be my, it's good enough if you get a working week out of an e-ink tablet, because the way that I use it is that I take it to work on a Monday. I want to have it fully charged on a Monday and know that by Friday I can, I haven't had to charge it or worry about the charge throughout that working week. Charge it over the weekend and you're ready to go again. And I know, why can't you just charge it overnight? Well, I just don't want other things in my life when I have to charge so many other things like phones and things like this. So solid battery life is what you get. And also the standby time is great on the reMarkable Paper Pro. The one thing about the Gallery screen is that the yellows, I think that if you're looking for content that's got yellow in it, lots of yellow in it, then you've got good yellows on the reMarkable, and that's the color that really stands out. But the blues and the greens are, for me, they're actually nicer now on the latest Kaleido Freeze. By the way, if you can recognize what I have on the Spectra 6 panel at the top there, if you can recognize what that painting is just by the hand and whatever animal is, then I will be impressed. So anyone pop that in the chat there. Cool, carrying on. So things that, that maybe we're getting into aren't so good. So for me, the user interface is very limited. There isn't much else you can do. Now that is either a pro or a con. There isn't a great deal of complexity. It's just only a few things that you can really do on here. There's no app store, it's closed. I personally find it being a closed ecosystem to be a bit of a con, but for some people that might be actually a bonus, might be actually a plus. There's no browser, there's no native calendar. So if you wanted to use it like a calendar, what you'd have to do is you'd have to go ahead and annotate on a paper calendar, if you like. It's really just, let's think about it like this, it's really just a replacement for paper, and I'm going to keep coming back to that. It does that quite well. It's, if you want to do anything on this, you have to go through the reMarkable Cloud and the Connect service. And of course, that then is a subscription you have to pay as well. So for me, that's a bit of an issue. It does have some features. It does have handwriting to text, for instance, which is in here somewhere. Is it in the free convert to text? There it is. And it can do that there. And now it can apply that handwriting to text across the whole device and search throughout the whole device, which is also very good as well. And also you have this ability to share via links, and they can be shared to an editable web form of Markdown. And Markdown is the kind of language of personal knowledge management systems, that Notion, for example. So that's a good thing and a bad thing, but it comes back to another point here, that the reMarkable system, if you're going to use the reMarkable and the reMarkable Paper Pro Move, then you're going to have this issue that you're going to have to use other things as well. They cannot replace all of your kind of tech life. And that's the thing. If you want to do everything that you can do on e-ink, you can't just rely on a reMarkable. It is only an additional set of devices. So yeah, you have to, you don't have to have the Connect subscription, but you're encouraged towards that kind of Connect subscription by certain things. And it's not a lot, it's like $3 a month or something, but over 5 or 10 years of using a reMarkable or the reMarkable Cloud, then that adds up to probably quite a little bit, doesn't it? So although it's really good for working with things like you would on paper, like your notes, like your planner, like marking up PDFs and things like that, that can be quite a good thing on it. But it's not something you can get rid of a whole lot of your other digital life, really. So where are we up to there? That's the subscription issues there. Okay, you really do kind of need to pay that to unlock that. Now, I've already talked about the flashing, and that slows things down. If you sort of think, oh, I want to move along the page, it's kind of like that little bit of extra time to move between your parts of the page because of that flashing. It's reasonably quick when it's just black and white, but when it has to do color, you get this off-putting flashing, in my opinion. And yeah, I don't personally like that all that much. So onto the Move itself, and just to give you a quick size comparison, first of all, these are both of them the larger of the devices that we're going to look at today, and this is not truly pocketable unless you wear giant overshirts with big pockets. You need, okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense actually. You need deep pockets to be able to use these, because they're not only the largest, but they're also the most expensive of the devices that we've got and we're discussing today. The reMarkable Pro Move, if I line it up there, yeah, it's considerably smaller, and it's basically, you'd have this as your on the move device. It isn't quite the full width of the reMarkable Paper Pro, although the device is, the screen isn't, but you can use it tilted on its side like that as well. It's nice. It is light, but it's not, again, it's not as light as some of the other smaller devices that we're looking at today. And one big plus of it is that you can use the exact same pens on both, and you can use the and you get the exact same tool set on both as well, which is, I think that's quite a nice thing. So there's not a lot of friction in moving between, although why this one isn't currently, oh, because I'm on white ink. So it is doing it, but I was on white ink, so that's why you couldn't see any white there. You've got the same tool sets. It's a kind of consistent use across the two things, which is quite important, I think. This is quite nice for doing some quick reading, but I wouldn't use it for anything which is like intense reading, really, because of the screen real estate and because their reader software isn't really up to as much as it kind of could be. I think it does feel expensive compared to some of the other options. And when you think about it, it's only about £150 cheaper than the actual Pro. It's quite expensive for the little guy. And yeah, I think that there's an issue there, really, that maybe you're going to want to pay, maybe you wouldn't balk at the kind of $559, I think, is the minimum for the reMarkable Paper Pro, although it's worth checking out right now because of the Black Friday deal on the Paper Pro, saving you £50, or I think, yeah, it's $50 as well off this one as well, although it might be $70. So there are some Black Friday savings, which is unusual for reMarkable. So if you're interested in get it, this is the week to do it, really. So yeah, you've got the same app, you've got this consistency, and you've got this really smooth syncing. So if I find this same file over here It might be that when I have to come out of it. If I come out of it, by the time I've actually found it, go back to my files, photo books to do, you'll see all the scribblings that I've made immediately there on the move. But you can also see that now I have this issue that I'm at 0.5x there. However, rotating it, I get something close to the same size, which I think, you know, they've really taken their time to consider working between the two sizes, and I think that's good. And yeah, again, all the same stuff, no app store, no web, no linking to your third-party apps, although they're improving on that as they go, using that markdown things as well. So what about using them together? I think there's a nice natural pattern. It's a well-considered use case here, that you've got this small guy to carry into your meetings, to get your quick ideas down. Okay, your kind of daily agenda would go well on here, and I've really liked using it for my daily planner at school. That's been great. That's been a really great time, actually. Just this idea of like capture, you know, and this is an idea from Tiago Forte's Second Brain, or from Personal Knowledge Management, but actually having something with you at all times to capture your thoughts. And once you've captured your thoughts, then they're there nice and quickly, not live, as you can see. It hasn't come through live here. I have to actually, I think I have to leave this one and then also go back into that. You see the tick come across there, and now it should be synced up. So pretty quick, you know, and as long as you're one person using this, up to 3 devices on the same account is what you can do, then you're not going to have any issues with syncing at all. And then this guy is for your sit-down planning, your long-form notes. You can see the size that's come through there. It's my sort of natural size writing on the other guy. This is for your longer form notes. It's a lovely place to write, it really is. And maybe reading PDFs, because they're almost full size on here. And yeah, marking up your documents for review. That same OS, same note-taking app, that real like link between the two doesn't give you so much cognitive overload. There's no cognitive dissonance. You're doing the same thing on 2 different sizes. And if your workflow involves handwriting, sketching out ideas, maybe reviewing PDFs, in short, things that are to do with paper, then this is a good shout. But if you want direct access to your calendars, your task managers, your to-do lists, things like that, then look elsewhere. If you love using Obsidian, Notion, you need to read web articles live, then all of that stuff has to go in through the plugins. And there are some really good desktop apps and phone apps and plugins, but you have to go through there. Cool. Okay, that is my reMarkable Move and reMarkable Pro itself discussion. What do you think of that? Let me know, everybody. There's one more thing that I do want to say before I move on, because this is the best keyboard case that is out there. It's just a shame that it's kind of like a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit stunted by being in this appless ecosystem. Now, it is nice that when you're using this most of the time in its keyboard case, sure, it's a bit thicker now, but there are no keys on the back here. And then when I want to type on it, just this way around, there we go, and it's ready to go. And it is a really, really nice keyboard case for that, for those reasons. Cool. How do you like that? What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the chat. I think I will just sort of punctuate this before I move on. We'll talk about this for a few minutes. I'll just give you a very quick look at that from a different direction, and then we'll move on. The reMarkable Paper Pro. It's just a tour de force of design. If you want a premium, distraction-free digital writing experience with the benefits of a color screen, the reMarkable Paper Pro could be for you. It's larger in size than a lot of the e-ink tablets out there, 11.8-inch color e-ink, and it now has a front light, giving you a bit more versatility to work in lower lit environments. And although it uses an active stylus rather than a Wacom EMR, that does mean it's now even faster than the previous generation of reMarkable. reMarkable call it a canvas color display. In fact, it's built off Gallery 3 e-ink, which is the e-ink technology which looks most like printed paper. It just takes a bit longer to get there each time. It's got a lovely paper-like feel, and I love drawing on it, simply because of all of the great colours you can get on it. And the pencils are some of the best in the whole industry. But reMarkable have gone premium this time, and this is not an inexpensive tablet. And as it does have quite limited functionality, that might be a difficult price point to justify for some of you. One of the best things about it though is the keyboard case. And it is a really nice time using either the handwriting recognition to get started, and then to be able to type on this full-size keyboard, which just appears from within the case. However, distraction-free sometimes means feature-free. And if you're expecting things like grammar and spelling, you're not going to get them on here, and very limited formatting options. But people love the reMarkable for that minimal design, great writing feel, and now color, which adds versatility to your annotations and your sketches. Cool. So I'm just going to have a quick look through your thoughts on that. I do think it's a good buy, actually, especially right now. The move itself isn't actually on Black Friday, but I do think reMarkable is a good buy. If that Spurs guy says, I want to work out the use case, if it works for your use case, and your use case needs to just be that I want to replace paper. that's just it, basically. Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to the Boox, I think, as well. Does Boox have plans to manufacture a new Tab X C this year? No, I think that came out this year, so I think you'd expect that probably spring next year. Note Palma Pro in Amazon Spain, is it sold out? Not sure there. That's a good question. I know out of context, but does SuperNote Manta have any pencil-like shading tools? Yes, it does. Really good drawing app on SuperNote Manta. Yeah, that's good to hear, Aaron. Yeah, I like it too for what it is. TCL Nxtpaper 11 Plus today. I'm a bit unsure if I'm happy or not. It's my first note-taking tablet. I feel kind of clunky to write small letters compared to paper. Yes, that one, if I remember rightly, that one has a USI type stylus. So the TCL that I'm going to look at today is actually an XP pen, and it's a collaboration between XP Pen and TCL, which I think is a really good collaboration as well. Always welcome to Lurk. Very good to see you too. Sheet Ink, warm welcome to you all. Boox 10.3 and just bought Palma 2, need a backlight. Yeah, what a great combo you've got there. Consider the V-Paper, yeah, Viwoods, I guess. If I had more money and didn't have the 10.3 already. Love the earmuffs options, which is why I didn't go to the 2 Pro. It's up to 5 now. What's up to 5? Look at those thumbnails on the move. Yeah, they're a bit small, aren't they? The keyboard case is very impressive. The screen flash, yeah, does my head in as well. Yeah, love the Nomad for note taking much more. Isn't it great? Yeah, incredible form factor on it. About to get a reMarkable Pro just for my writing needs. If you've got the move and if you really enjoyed the move, Aaron, then now's definitely a good time to buy that reMarkable Pro. Oh, you're up to 5 devices. Okay, cool. That's a great combo. Type in your full combo and let us know your e-ink family as it's Ruby that calls it the e-ink family, isn't it? I'm considering a 10.3, not sure if it's a bit old at this point, and should hope for a refresh instead, maybe. Yeah, maybe. It's still a great price, really. It's good quality screen. Perhaps there might be a Note Air 5 at some point soon. I don't know anything for sure, but perhaps there might. Right, let's fire over then and carry on looking at these e-ink combos. So we're going to look at Boox next, and we're going to go ahead and show you that. This is a great combo. I've been a big fan of Boox for a long time. I've been a user of Boox for a long time, and I really do like it. So hopefully that screen should come on just now. Might just take a second. So the Palma 2 Pro, it's a different type of stylus than it is on the Note Air 5C. Maybe I'll just give it another shot, shall I? Not sure what's happened here. Hopefully it'll just come back in a moment. It often does. Okay, I'm just going to ask for your patience for one moment. Maybe tell you about how this channel can earn money and allow me to do these things. Thanks so much for being here and spending time with me on this live stream. I really enjoy engaging with you guys and answering your questions live. It's a massive support to me. Now, if you do decide that one of the devices that I review here on my channel is for you, then go ahead and check the links in the description. Because when you make a purchase through a YouTuber's affiliate links, you make it possible for us to keep making content for you. Not sure where that was, but I did the the nuclear option and just sort of unlinked it from the stream, and it's back again. Okay, all the joys of live streaming, but I really do enjoy live streaming, so let's fire in as well. And let's look at the Note Air 5C and the Boox Palma 2 Pro. I'm going to start with the Note Air 5C, which is a different type of color technology. This is Kaleido-free color technology, and I want to draw your attention to, these are my notes for today's stream. And I've been working here on the Kaleido 3 screen. I've got lots of notes, as you can see. And yeah, it's been really, really good, because actually what you can do here, like you couldn't in the reMarkable, was you can just use OneNote and you can use any app that you want to use on here. Some aren't as well optimized as OneNote is for using with the e-ink. But you can see here, I was writing this, when I was writing this, I was thinking, why am I writing so small? But you can really write very small on here. And you can see I'm still very accurate, even though I'm writing at such a small size. And this is one of the best pens here on display. In fact, this is it's the only Wacom EMR stylus. Not the only EMR stylus, but it's the only Wacom EMR stylus. And this screen, although it is the Kaleido 3, which I actually personally quite like, and although I have to sort of run it at a reasonably high front light to get the kind of screen whiteness that I'm comfortable with, it's still a nice look about it. And actually, when you give it a little bit more, you can get some really natural colors out of it. And I actually think I prefer Kaleido colors than I do gallery colors. Controversial take. What about you guys? Tell me if you're a user of both those. It'd be really useful for people who don't know if they prefer the Kaleido 3 or the gallery 3. It'd be really useful for you to let other people know. And although there is a good notes app in here, you can actually just use whatever notes app that you want to use, which is good. It's the highest pixels per inch, is the highest pixel density of any of these. It is 300 ppi in black and white. So the color is actually the lowest pixel density. So there is that. But you know, I'll bring that nice and close to the camera. Actually, I think you're still getting good definition around those color areas. It's just that black, look at the black section. The black is defined even better because every color pixel is made of 3 black pixels essentially. So I've got another video where I've talked in depth about the actual technologies behind them. But just for now, I really do like the colors here. And this screen on the Note Air 5C is very, very good. And basically, you'd hardly ever see any ghosting. I hardly ever spend any time in the e-ink center or the e-ink wise, because it's just generally pretty much as recommended, just works just fine for me. Yeah, so it is very high density, and I like the, you know, it's got the warm and the cool lights as well, and you can really make it a color that you enjoy, which is quite nice. And yeah, this, after using the capacitive pen, this was an absolute revelation. It was just far better. This just, yeah, loads of reasons why I much prefer to use this. This one, full Android with Google Play this time, okay? So you can run pretty much any reading app that you might like to, okay? So if you like to read in Kindle, as I do, if you want to use note apps like OneNote, as I'm using here, Notion, Obsidian, all of those things work on here, whatever your kind of preference is. And yeah, we talk about the kind of BSR mode on here, but I think we almost don't need to talk about it now, because I think we can just generally say that Boox have really kind of just solved e-ink, and e-ink works just fine on here. Yeah, there's still work. This is actually a bit of a workaround. Like you can see, it's sort of giving me a kind of preview and then doing the final thing. But actually, it's still a good workaround, and it works just fine. There is the optional magnetic keyboard, and I wanted to show you the reMarkable one because that's an example of how to do it, and this is an example, unfortunately, of how not to do it really. And we're on the kind of, I think this might be the 4th generation of Boox keyboards, and they still haven't got it perfectly figured out. It works, it is a keyboard, but it's, yeah, it's just not my favorite way to do it. You can see now it's transformed itself into a much larger device now, much wider. The elegance of it, because it's a really elegantly designed device, is now gone, and it's this clunky thing, you know, where edges don't match up, and they haven't still been able to fit in a full-size keyboard. Whereas even the reMarkable 2, you know, and this is clearly where the design cues have come from. The reMarkable 2 keyboard, same color look. The reMarkable 2 keyboard had the same technique of just folding up like so out of the case, so that you never have to have keys on the back whilst you're holding it. Lots of reasons why the reMarkable 2 keyboard was just, you know, the right thing, and actually it's the same size. It's the same size device as a reMarkable 2, so yeah, sure, maybe they couldn't just copy it, but they could have done better than what they have done. So that's there as an option if you want to like type on it a little bit. If you want to, I think, edit some text is the way to look at that. Not make the first draft, but if you want to just, you know, work on some edits, then I think that would probably be okay for you. But I wouldn't be sitting and using it like an e-ink typewriter, really. Some good things though, some really good things about it. I just generally, I love using the thing. It is really, really good. I just wish that keyboard case was just a little bit better. I really do. And it looks really good. And the interesting thing is this is the latest Kaleido 3, and this is the latest kind of Boox use of the Kaleido 3. And when you go back to, let's even say the Tab Ultra C Pro, you know, not that long ago, actually that is handling ghosting worse than this is. This is just, I mean, look how clear that just remains when I move around. There's hardly any ghosting at all. I hardly ever need to go and press this button here and do a full refresh. It just generally, the ghosting, the screen is smooth. Generally, the ghosting is absolutely fabulous. And I haven't actually found many crashes in apps yet. And they seem to have solved the issue in the note-taking app, that when you do a bit too many notes, it kind of loses its cool and it takes a moment and needs to sort of reset. Sure, the background of Kaleido 3 is a bit grayer. It's a bit like more, almost like a kind of texture to it, the way it looks. But I think it's perfectly fine. I think it's really good. And yeah, if you're just going to use it for text, if you just want an e-reader just for text, then maybe stick with black and white. But if you want to use apps, and I had this question recently, if you want to use Word or Google Docs or anything like that, I would definitely go with this guy. I would definitely go with the color screen rather than a black and white screen. But if you just want to read and write, then black and white is absolutely just fine. I think the kind of the whole thing about whether it's distraction free or not distraction free, you know, this is Android, and if you're used to using Android, you'll know your way around. You'll be able to get in and out of apps just fine. You'll install the things. You'll be able to manage the settings, all of these things. Then you'll be absolutely fine. But saying that, it's all there. It's powerful, but it's sometimes a bit fussy. And actually, I drew this on the Palma 2 the other day. This is coming up in a video soon. And here's something I drew on here. So it's like all of the options are there, but you have to sort of fuss your way to find those options, which I think is actually a bit frustrating. Surely I actually have a page. There we go, the first page. There we go. I've been drawing stuff to do with Dante recently. It's been my thing. So is there something on page 2? There should be. It's being fussy, as you can tell. Yeah, it's a lot of notes there, so there's a lot of like strokes for it to do. So yeah, powerful but fussy is a good way to summarize this, I think. And I personally think it's a feature, not a bug, but it is complex. And complexity, you can say complexity is good, or you can say complexity is bad, but I personally think complexity is a good thing. I don't mind tinkering. I would take complexity to allow me to be flexible. Then the Palma 2 Pro, and I think this is a great form factor. You know, this is a classic for a reason. You know, there's a reason why this is the classic sort of phone design, the phone design that's stuck with us for such a long time. And I don't think there's any issues with the way that it looks. And I actually think I was really shocked recently when I was doing a direct comparison. I had the Kindle Colorsoft right next to it, and I had the Kindle app open on both, and I was looking at some colors, and I actually think that this is perhaps the very best color e-ink that I've seen, full stop. I think the colors on here on the Palma 2 Pro are absolutely fabulous. I think this is just as good as e-ink currently gets. And I think that actually even on here, if I can go, have I installed Kindle? I maybe haven't even installed Kindle on here just yet, but I think that the colors on the Note Air 5 C are actually not quite as good as they are on the Palma 2 Pro. I mean, do you see that? The quality of that on here is absolutely fabulous. Let's try and find the same thing, shall we? Oh, you normally just go to the BBC, don't I? At this point, I don't know why the stylus isn't registering first time there. Which bad news should we have first? Let's just go for the cricket. That's safe for everyone, isn't it? Oh, maybe later. But let's just have a look. I think, yeah, I think this is whiter. I think the colors on here are better. And what mode I'm in, let's go for, give it its best look. I think that they're really good. Let's go Regal down here again. I mean, this looks like a better image almost because it is larger. But I think actually this Palma 2 screen is fabulous. I think, as I say, working with this, the colors you can't see too much different, but can you see that it's just whiter than the Note Air 5C is? But generally for color e-ink, I mean, I prefer this to that Gallery 3. I just do. I think this has got actually, it's got better. They've worked hard on it, e-ink and Boox, and I think that they're really quite good. So there we are. I think that, yeah, there's more options. You know, you can see me kind of getting lost in menus as I go around it. There's more things that you can do on it, but because of that complexity, you've lost some of the focus. And I think I'd love to see them bring like a physical switch on here and put it into focus mode where everything just disappears apart from the reader and the notes. You know, that would be a cool thing to see. But right now, it's not broken. It's just what it is. Both of them have the exact same chip, incidentally. Both of them are the Snapdragon 750G. This one, though, the Palma actually has more RAM. It actually has 8 GB of RAM. So I don't know if that makes it any faster to get around the operating system. Probably about exactly the same. Let's try and open. We've got the same app on both. Neither of them have this open. So maybe ever so slightly faster on the Palma, but basically the same. So same chip, but a little bit more RAM over here on the Palma, a little bit more storage as well. Both have SD card expandability. Of course, the Palma, unlike the reMarkable, has, right now it's got 4G, but it actually has 5G connectivity when that is available as well. So really, really good, really fabulous actually. And then this could be the hotspot for this, of course. The difference is, one difference is that this only supports the InkSense Plus stylus, which, I mean, it would work as no, it doesn't work at all on here. I was thinking it would just work as a dumb sort of pointing device, but no, it would occasionally sort of actuate it probably. But so therefore the notes, although you can make notes on it, is not as good as the EMR stylus over here on the Note Air 5C. So just write something quickly. It's also not very sort of natural to write because it's slightly off the page. Whereas the Note, you can sort of leave your hand on it. You've got more of a texture across here. You've got the lovely accuracy of the EMR. Great low latency, not as low latency as the reMarkable was, but you actually got pretty low latency here as well. Or pens with buttons really annoy me. What about you guys? Because I always accidentally press the button. I mean, it's nice that it's there when you want to use it, but it just annoys me that I accidentally press the button quite a lot. So it's okay for decent scribbles, but the fact that you can't use them, sort of, you get used to one thing, get used to this, and then you don't use the same thing across here is a bit of a nuisance. I think one-handed, actually for me at least, this is a better size for me than the reMarkable Move was, so I quite like that about it. Moving on, great outdoor readability, way better than OLED or LCD phones for outdoor readability. You've got microphones, you've got Bluetooth, you've got speakers. You could even get away with basic videos on here, although the video itself isn't going to be a great time, but you can listen to it. And yeah, if you want to read comics on it, I showed you a little bit of Superman in Kindle. Not that I'm reading that particularly, it's just a good example. And I think this looks great for if you want to read in guided mode. I mean, I just think that is. I read all of Watchmen on the original HiBreak color, and just used the volume buttons just to go through. And you know, for serious graphic novels for serious people, that is a really good time. And it looks really good just going through it sort of like panel by panel. And importantly, what Boox have done, they haven't just like presumed that I'll just be able to put e-ink screens on top of Android and it's fine. But I find that they have taken the time to really learn how to use e-ink well, and that they are the best for making things look well on e-ink. And this, you know, Boox always, when you stick them side by side with any other company or with an e-ink device, Boox always gets the best out of their screens, really. So I think it's absolutely brilliant. I mean, it's still a smaller size, of course. It's still got the same resolution, so it's 300 ppi in black and white, 150 ppi in color. So it's the highest and the lowest. The highest for sort of just black and white text, you could think about it like that, and the lowest for areas of color. And it still isn't a full phone. And I'm not mentioning today the HiBreak Pro, but the HiBreak Pro is a full phone. So e-ink phones can be done. You know, for me, it's a better reader, it's a better organizer than the reMarkables are, but it's too small to be your primary device, this one. But it's a good combination here, I think, the two of them, and that's the important thing. You can log in, of course, with the same Boox account. You've now got Android 15 on both of them, which is surprisingly up to date for Boox, isn't it? You've got your pocket reader here that can be your capture device. You know, remember that idea of capture that I talked about? Oh, you know, you just got a quick thought, so you can quickly just capture some ideas, which later you can put into your PKM. Can't even spell at the minute. It's hard, you know, like talking and writing at the same time. This is why I don't like the button. See, I keep pressing the button by accident. So I can capture my thoughts on here. It should be with me at all times. And then I can work them up into something bigger here on the Boox. Again, you've got that same issue of syncing, which is, you know, natural really, that you need to come out of one of them before you go back into the other one, and it should work fine with the syncing. But I've seen more syncing issues with Boox than I have with reMarkable, for example. Then, and this can also be your communications hub as well, because you've got the 4G. So you can have WhatsApp linked to your main phone. Can't be a phone, but you can run your emails on here. And of course, you can run this as a hotspot and then put your larger tablet on this. So I think that's a great combination aspect of it. Then the Note Air 5 C is your main workspace. It's your main writing surface. It's the device that you could hook up to a keyboard. Even if the keyboard case isn't great, then putting a Bluetooth keyboard on this is really, really good. So this is your focus kind of desk notes. And then the Palma is your smaller, pocketable, portable guy. And I do really like this. I personally think, okay, these aren't distraction free, although you can, of course, just go ahead and put it into do not disturb mode. And I think personally, just whenever you install an app on your e-ink device, just it was already in do not disturb. Whenever you install an app on your e-ink device, just make a decision to press don't send me notifications, please, unless it's one you have to have notifications from. And then they're distraction free, or rather they're going to distract you by thinking, because you've only bothered to install, I think it automatically did this. I don't think I've ever signed into any of these distractible ones. You've only bothered to install the apps that you don't mind being distracted by, in that, well, I'm going to carry on my bit of reading. So I like that as well. So be disciplined. If you do these, then do that, and only install things that you actually want to use. Because one major disadvantage of this, which the final combo gets around, is this, again, is not going to be able to get rid of your actual phone. And that can be a disadvantage. If you want to go full on e-ink, then this can do almost everything. And you can generally, you'll often find yourself thinking, I'll do it on here rather than a laptop. And here you'll think, oh, I'll read that and check that on here rather than my phone. But you're not going to be able to get rid of your phone entirely. So there's that. It's not a one and done tech solution. You can't do everything that you need to do on e-ink just yet. Okay, so that is my comparison there of the Boox Note Air 5C here on this side and the Palma 2 Pro on the other. What do you guys think? I'm pretty positive about this, as you might be able to tell. Incidentally, you might have seen I'm not using the pen that comes with the Note Air 5C for a well-documented reason, that when it's clipped in its proper place, it hits the volume button that, oh no, quick. In that short amount of time, I've made 16 fresh pages on the Note Air 5C, which, as you can imagine, gets pretty frustrating if that was to happen every single time you clipped your pen to the side. Kind of clips down there, but not as good. There's an argument going on. I think there might be a rant going on in the chat. So let's fire in and have a look what's all happening in the chat. Lots of people, lots of nice, interesting chat here. So, oh, thank you. Right. So the reMarkable Connect now allows 5 devices rather than 3. Wow. I guess I guess if you're working in a team with 5 people, that might work. We did do this one. Okay, I'm not going to look at that one. I've purposefully gone for the roughly 10-inch kind of devices. I know the reMarkable Pro is bigger, but that's just the current reMarkable, isn't it? I've been using the Manta alongside Obsidian on the computer. Interesting combo, but it works, yeah? Absolutely. Yeah, and that's the organizing for change way, isn't it? Love to hear that. Thanks very much, Chill and Connect. I'd like to see the Palma line continues to be improved. Myself, I recently got a black and white Palma, and I don't need the extra features of the Pro. But I'd like to see iterations. Yeah, cool. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think a lot of people, you know, if you didn't need the 4G, 5G, then yeah, there's no real reason to update that at this point. Interesting, they haven't given you like the option of buying a color without 5G, but they haven't. Who knows if that will come in the next sort of generation. Yeah, that's an interesting one. So your colors are useful for apps, as I was saying here with the Boox Note Air 5C. I think just being able to see the colors is useful for apps because they rely on your eye picking up, oh, I know that icon is kind of blue in that corner, and they often rely on color to differentiate between different icons as well, which is important as well. Hugely prefer the Note Air 4 5C screen to whatever reMarkable is doing. The flashing is an instant deal breaker to me. Yeah, I'm surprised that reMarkable, you know, I think they're kind of sticking it out, but I expect the business sense thing to do would probably be to go ahead and make a some kind of either reMarkable 3 with black and white, or some kind of reMarkable with maybe a Kaleido screen or something like that. Might make some sense. Like being able to zoom in and write a bunch of stuff. Will it be legible when zoomed in all the way out? 300 ppi is really nice. Oh, it'll still be legible, so yeah. And they now have the infinite canvas on Boox as well. Didn't the 5C come with the other stylus? Yeah, sorry, that was the one there. Yeah, absolutely. So I've just decided, well, I've got other Boox styluses, so I'll stick with that. Who knows? I was pretty much using the OneNote most of the time. How are the text editing tools on Boox because of the other apps you can use? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I use Word, and I'm straight into my whatever it's called, OneDrive, and also I use Docs, and I'm straight into Docs. So, you know, I just use those two straight on the device, so it's great. I like using OneNote, but the actual built-in app is definitely better. But again, it's just, well, I can use OneNote on everything. I've got OneNote right now on my computer. So I've got the notes both on that device, and I've got the notes on my computer screen as well, which is just useful. Palma Pro and Note Max, nice combo. Looking for a 10-inch option. For you, I would go for the Note Air 5C because you've got the black and white Note Max. So personally, you know, a 3-way combo, which of course this is what we're all about on this channel, is obsessing over lots of e-ink. A 3-way, a 3-device combo would be have either the color 13-inch or the black and white 13-inch, and then the other 10.3-inch. So for me, I'd probably go the way you have it. Or would I? I don't know. No, I like the Tab X. Oh, I'd really struggle to decide, actually. I really would. I think maybe I'd be Tab X and then go 10.3, and then Palma 2 Pro would be like really good. Haven't got an AI Note 2, although I have seen that they have decided to send out some unsponsored reviews, so maybe that eventually I'll get one. But as long as they basically, every time they offer send me one, which is regularly, I keep getting lots of emails like, "Hi, we like your content," you know, like, yeah, cool, send me the thing, but just and then they say, "But you have to say these things about it," and I say, "Well, don't send it to me then," because I'm not interested in doing that. So. You know, the companies that you're featuring here have told me to say absolutely nothing at all. So that's why I haven't looked at them yet. And as soon as they respond, and I'll just keep responding, send about the exact same thing. Yes, send me it, but no, I won't read off your crib sheet. Okay, so yes, send it to me, but I will make my own review of it. And I think that's probably telling. So I'm looking forward to seeing the reviews that will come shortly about those devices, which will be honest reviews, and won't just be reading off a script. Couldn't use the reMarkable Paper Pro because the resolution was too low. Is Kaleido similar? No, the resolution's higher on Kaleido. So yeah, the resolution of the Paper Pro is like 220. No, it's 207, isn't it? And the Paper Pro moves like 227, I think. So there we go. I agree about the complexity. I'd rather figure out how to do things properly and personalize them than not having the option. Yeah, me too. What's the best price? What's best to price? What's value? What's the best value, really? Well, I'm going to do the prices a little bit later, but basically the reMarkable Paper Pro is the highest cost. And this final one that I'm going to look at next, which is the TCL and the XP pen, that's the cheapest. That's like £100 cheaper than the Boox combo. And then the reMarkable combo is like £50, something more than that, or maybe it's £100 more than that. But you're probably going to end up spending more than £100 more. It's going to be more, almost like £1,000 really, the reMarkable, if you get all the accessories and you go for the more premium options, certainly. So I would say the Boox probably gives you the best value, certainly if you want to stick with the ink. Yeah. Have I chosen the winner yet? HiBreak Pro versus Viwoods versus Palma Pro. Haven't seen the Viwoods, so there's another idea that in this combo comparison in the future, certainly you could have a Viwoods AI Note, whatever it's called, Viwoods AI paper, and the Viwoods reader, you could certainly have that in here, but I haven't got that yet, so I'll do that when it comes. Yes, it supports dark mode, although you don't need to do that on e-ink because dark mode is supposed to limit the amount of light into your eyes on OLED, which is great on OLED, but you don't need to do that because e-ink's just using reflected light. So actually, it's nicer to read on black text on white background. Has anyone got what painting that is without looking on my on my ink poster, by the way? Right, yeah. So this is it. I absolutely hate using buttons on the stylus just because I accidentally press them all the time. But I think with buttons, if I was to get used to one pen, then I'd probably be all right with it, and I probably wouldn't accidentally press it. So probably buttons are quite cool. But no, I disagree with you, Rod. There, let's we can agree to disagree, can't we? How do they compare speed-wise? They're about the same, actually, I would say. I think on paper, I think the HiBreak Pro is a faster processor, though. So, but in general, in use, I haven't seen much of a difference. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. I appreciate you. I'm glad you discovered that from that coverage there. Rod doesn't like to have to turn it around. I don't particularly like having to turn it around either. But Rod, I don't make mistakes, so I don't need an eraser. For some reason, my daily carry for work is Note Air 4C and the 10.3. So, wow, you've got the two of the same devices rather than one color and one. That's not. Could I try DC Universe Infinite, please? What for the comics on both? I'm not going to load them up right now because it just would take too long, and I've got one more to do. Can't use it at full phone. I put Google Voice on. I haven't tried it yet. No, you can't use it as a full phone, as far as I can tell. I think you could hack it and do it because, well, my Palma Pro. The tester one that I did was used as a phone, and I made calls there as well. There's some bro chat going on there as well. I'd love to see the upgrades on the 5C. Can't wait what line. I'm going to have to move on in a minute because, but it's great to read your chat. Keep the comments coming and keep chatting amongst yourselves as well. Love to see the upgrades on the 5C. Can't wait what line they'll look by the time I'm ready to upgrade. Yeah, isn't that interesting? Blown away by his ability to milk this decision for years. Yeah. Well, you know, it's just content. This is content. We're having a chat. Okay, so I've already decided. It's just presenting that decision to you. How's Bigme Pro so far? I'm buying one soon. Yeah, it's great. I mean, I certainly could use that, and I think possibly if I hadn't got the Palma Pro, that's not true though. I was going to say that I could still be using that, but actually I quite like, because I do use a phone, which is an LCD phone. I'm currently using the TCL Nxtpaper, and I'm quite happy with it. It's not the world's best, but I could probably, you know, you could use the HiBreak Pro as one phone, but I haven't been able to just get rid of LCD phone entirely yet out of my life. I still use the Go 7 to access my work notes on the go. Yes, Go 7's good. The books have their own cloud to sync with one another. Yes, they do. And you can have it sync with your own cloud, so you can choose where it goes to sync. I love the size of the Move. Yeah, I like the size of the Move, but it's probably a bit big for my sort of hands. I find it just a little bit hard to hold in one hand and write in one go. So I'm still finding myself sort of like, you know, leaning up against something while I write or something like that, whereas the Palma's just right. Although you haven't got as much space to write on, of course. Yeah, so talked about that. I hope one day I'll review one of their devices, but I'm imagining there's a reason why they want people to read their specs, why they want there to read their PR sheet, really. I don't know who has tried the AI Note 2. Anyone in the audience tried the AI Note 2? What did you think about it? How does Kaleido 3 look on different devices? GPU or InkTech implementation? Yeah, the GPU is important, but it's also this kind of oxide backplane. Rod did my favorite video of Rod's ever. That's Rants About Technology. That's Rants About Tech's video, where he actually looked at why is the new Kindle Colorsoft, when it was brand new, why does it actually look better than the other Kaleidos? And the answer was about this kind of oxide backplane they put, which just allows it to reflect a fuller spectrum from the LCDs that it's using. It's my kind of understanding about it. And that means you're getting fuller spectrum white light through that RGB layer. And if you're getting a more full spectrum, then you're going to end up with truer colors. And that's why you're getting so much better there. So check that out. Rod, if you want to link that video up, you're very warmly welcome to. Never did a live session like this. I like you forcing this kind of stuff. Thanks. Yeah, you don't think I'm taking just too long over the decision? How do you expect Kindle Scribe Colorsoft to fit into a workflow? It has some interesting features. Yeah, I'm looking forward to trying it. I think that that's like 650 quid or something like that, isn't it? I think that that's going to be more expensive than I'd want to pay for basically the same screen on the books, and the books can just basically be your Kindle as well. Not sure what you're laughing about, buddy. Painting is wrong. Yes, it is, Lady there. Mine, absolutely. I think there are multiple versions. That is exactly what it is. Well done to you. Lamino Invisible 393. Well done to you. It's not Madonna, no. It's yeah, it's Leonardo, Lady there. Mine. Yeah, so love that one. Check out my ink poster video if you haven't seen it already, because awesome. Have I changed my workflow to accommodate the new Pro Move? No, it's slipped into my workflow, which was very nice to see. And that's the nice thing there. Why does my camera keep zooming in and out? I don't think it does it? This one, if this one zooms in and out, it's because I zoom it in and out. I love my Bigme Pro. Yeah, it is good. And I really enjoyed the black and white one as well. And I think that's cool just to say, right, I've got a phone and that phone is my e-reader and I'm happy with that. Right, I'm going to fire on with the Nxtpaper next. So I'm just going to give myself just 2 minutes and just tell you about my membership offer. No, what I'll do is I'll put on the Note Air 4C, and the Note Air 4C looks very similar to the Note Air 5C. I'll just put on the quick clip about that, and then I'll be ready to fire on with this decision that's taken me forever. This is the Boox Note Air 4C, and it's absolutely ideal if you're a student or a professional seeking a versatile e-ink tablet with a color display to enhance your note-taking and your reading. It's got the Boox Super Refresh, so you can see ghosting is minimalized without having to do full refreshes. This time they've improved the processor and given you 6 GB of RAM. It's full Android, so it's got Google Play Store as well, so you can access any app, and Android apps do work better on a color e-ink screen. Kaleido Free is by no means perfect, and it is quite dark without that front light. But for me, for a tablet where you're using dynamic content, at least it's quick and doesn't need to flash to change color. And actually this time around, they've really got it looking really good, for instance, in graphic novels. But of course, it's nowhere near the look you might expect from an LCD or an OLED tablet. But in my opinion, color e-ink is ready now to be really enjoyed by many people. But don't expect it to be really accurate to what you're going to get on an OLED screen or even a printout. And for that reason, they only give you access to a limited palette of colors, even in the Notes app. And I've covered that there are some flaws in the note-taking app. With the pencil with tilt, still a work in progress there, Boox. But people love it for the combination of the color ink display with that flexibility of the Android ecosystem. It really makes it a great tool for your work and for leisure. I love standing up in this mode and using it with a Bluetooth keyboard. Okay, awesome. Let's put me back in the right way around. Right, okay. So we're going to look at the Nxtpaper next, and I've got the XP pen as well. Hope you've been enjoying this so far. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you. That was about the oxide plane, was it? Yeah. Got the Palma Pro, liking it, but I don't think I could replace my iOS device yet with that, or the HiBreak Pro yet. Yeah, you're absolutely right here. So this is one thing I've written about these devices, is that you know, some people are not willing or interested or want to replace their iPhone or their laptop, you know, their MacBook or whatever they use. And I think that really the other two, the reMarkables and the Booxes, they go pretty well with all right, I'm going to continue to use my Samsung or my iPhone, and I'm going to continue to use my laptop. Whereas Boox can replace more, but these are the only pair of the ePaper kind of things we're looking at, which could actually replace a sort of a large amount of that. So let's have a little look at this. This is the XP Pen Magic Notepad and the TCL Nxtpaper 60 Ultra. And I really like both of these, and they both have a TCL screen, and they both have a XP pen. All right. So I did actually just do a screen unlock there with looking at my face there, and of course you can use OneNote on here. You can use any note-taking app that you might choose. It has this kind of matte screen. And let's not forget, if you want this matte screen from an iPad, you have to go up to the really expensive iPad Pro and yeah, and spend a lot of money to get this kind of matte screen. And yeah, it gives you an EMR pen at a really great price with a really nice matte screen to draw on. It is more slippery than the other ones, but it is really a nice matte screen just to draw on. And I really do enjoy drawing on this thing here. This is the XP Pen Magic Notepad. And of course, you can find links to all these in the description, everybody. I was expecting it to magnetize there, but it's there. And also, I was going to go ahead and talk about Black Friday deals, but I think I'll just save that one now and move that live stream to another day because it's taken longer than I even thought it was going to take, which is cool. It's fun. Hope you're enjoying things as well. But links are in the description there, and you can go find that live stream already, and you can go through my my recommendations of great deals that are on Black Friday, and this is one of them. This is a great deal which is currently on Black Friday. You can go to Amazon, or you can go to that's fine. What's it called again? XP Pen Magic Note. And you'll see what a great deal this is. It's saying won't ship to this address because it's set on deliver to United Kingdom. So put in a US zip code. There we go, ship to New York. See if we get something different. Here we are. XP Pen Magic Notepad, $259.99. That is better than $100 off. That's the best deal they've ever done on this, and it really is a good time. So a great EMR stylus with a paper-ish screen, and the issue with the screen for me is that, see, the viewing angles aren't great, but generally, yeah, it is a LCD screen here. But it's an LCD screen with, go back something I can write in, well, LCD screen with a kind of matte texture and a matte, it's not a matte film, it's not just a screen protector on top. It's a real kind of cover lens that's built into the glass. Which tries to sort of bring it brings the color to the surface, so it looks more like it's actually printed on the surface. But of course it's LCD, and of course it's emitting out light into your eyes, so it's not great. It's 10.95 inches. You know, it is great for an LCD screen. Okay, it's 10.95 inches across. I keep pressing that button, and it changes to the eraser on here, and it is basically full HD. So that makes it the lowest pixel density of the whole bunch. This is 190 ppi, which is not great. So it's the lowest pixel density of the whole bunch, but it is 90 hertz, which is good. And it's this kind of like matte glass. And actually, although LCD should be, because it's 90 hertz, you should pretty much get an instant, or 1/90th of a second to be the latency. Actually, that's not necessarily the true latency, because there are times when I'm writing, for example, in OneNote, where it's definitely behind. I think it depends how much is sort of loaded up in it. There's not many apps currently running, but sometimes I'm writing in OneNote and I actually see the pen sort of is a bit behind. Yeah, you can sort of see it there on the screen, can't you? Where it should be. And that actually, the reMarkable, I would say, actually is a lower latency than this. It does have fancy screen options. Okay, it's currently in the natural color, the normal mode, if you like, but you can change to the light color mode, which it does this fancy animation and looks all swish. It's lower saturation here as well. Or you can go full on black and white, but all this is doing is called Nxtpaper mode, but there are the similarities with e-ink End. it's only just turned into black and white. It's not doing anything else special at all. The pen though is really, really good. So this is the collaboration. So TCL are the screen, TCL Nxtpaper screen, XP pen. And this is the pen X Pro 3 pencil, it's called. X Pro 3? Oh, no, pardon me, X3 Pro. X3 Pro. They're all some kind of combination of letters and numbers like that, aren't they, right? So X3 Pro, and it is 16,000 levels of pressure, greater than 16,000 levels of pressure. And that makes it one of the highest pressure like levels of all pens. It just means you get that greater control over when you're doing harder or lower pressure, which is really, really, it's really, really good. It's great. The pen is absolutely brilliant. However, one thing about the pen is that it's not like the sort of standard Wacom Martech that other companies were using, where you could buy a whole bunch of different third parties if you liked a different type of grip. This is, as far as I'm aware, this is the only pen that will work on there. And even the even this guy, which is the phone I'm going to talk about it, which has an XP pen, even its pen doesn't work on here, and vice versa. So it's kind of like, if you don't like that pen, well, there's not many options. There probably are a few other options, but this is like the only pen you're going to end up using with this. So there we go. Now, it is like a lot of LCD screens. It's TUV certified. It's very low blue light. It is, you know, you don't get as much of a glare on it from other things. You see that there? You get a nice matte. You know, you don't get, like, you can't see the light behind me. There's a, you know, that's picking up the other light there as well. So it is, the anti-glare works really well. And yeah, it tends to be sort of like less harsh contrast than on a kind of iPad glassy screen or anything like that. And it's IPS, so an IPS is better for the eyes, it tends to be, than OLED. So at least with these two screens, with the Nxtpaper screens, you're getting something which is like trying its very best to be comfortable for your eyes, but it's just not the same thing as e-ink. I actually really like the feel and the build of it. You know, it's not just another iPad clone. It's its own thing. It's its own device. It's, you know, generally it's I think it's quite a nice little tablet. It's not got a rear camera. It does have a front camera, which it basically uses for face unlock and not a lot else. Yeah, I really like it. It's not e-ink, and that's the biggest thing about it. Okay, and that's the thing. It's a finely tuned LCD with filters. It's not true e-ink. And for example, if you take it outdoors, you're still going to have to pump up the brightness, and it will struggle to keep up with enough brightness to actually get your, you know, to actually beat the sort of sunlight, which will still put a big glare across the screen. It'll be a nice matte looking glare, but it'll still be quite a large glare. Okay. Yeah, the next one. So the TCL Nxtpaper Ultra, I really like that as well. This time, still full HD, but this time's 120 hertz screen, so that's even smoother. Again, the low blue light. This is Nxtpaper 4.0 on the phone, on the Nxtpaper 60 Ultra. Go into OneNote, and actually I quite like this, that you can be in OneNote in black and white. I don't know why it's not writing on it at the minute there. Normally works just fine. There we are. I don't know why it wasn't writing on that one. But like, you can continue to write in black and white, but you can still see actually that's a little bit behind where it should be. And what annoyed me most about this pen, this is a great EMR pen on here. It's an XP pen, EMR pen basically, is actually the sides of it. There are magnets at the side, so you get wobble near the sides. And it actually means that effectively the screen that I can write neatly on is not as big as the full screen. And that's annoying. That's annoying indeed. But generally, this is, yeah, it's got better angles than the other one. Still a little bit worse than a full-on IPS or OLED. But yeah, I find that I really like the texture. And as soon as I started writing on here, the texture on here, can you hear it? The texture on here is even more paper-like than the texture is on here. Yeah, it's actually, it's quite nice. It's both of them are nice. This is more like a smooth glass than this is. This is very paper-like in its texture. And straight away I was like, oh yeah, that really does feel nice to write on, and it gives you good control. And actually, if you need to write a bit neater, you can rotate it this way around. And generally, there's some really good things about that as well. This is on its max ink mode right now, and you see it reckons it'll do 37 hours and 45 minutes. It almost certainly won't, but the kind of idea that I've been having with it is that when I put it in my pocket, I turn on max ink mode, and when I need to go and do something a bit more involved and treat it more like a computer, or I want to actually check something and do something, maybe I need to log into something, check my banking or whatever, then I go ahead and do this. Or of course, the one use of phones that I can't seem to get around, and that means that I basically can't stop using, I can't move fully to e-ink phones. My main use of this phone, I'm sure it's the most used app on here, of course, is setting it up in its little sort of theater mode and enjoying some Think Media podcast or whatever. It's mostly actually it's mostly rants about tech that I watch on here, if I'm honest. I do watch a fair bit of rants about tech actually, but I'll just set it up like this when I'm doing whatever, doing the washing up. And yeah, I've got a really nice, enjoyable thing where I can watch stuff about football and about YouTube and stuff like that. Good speakers and everything there as well. None of the others can you do that on. Okay, so again, we're talking about this as one thing that can replace your actual phone, and this is the one out of all of them that can replace your actual phone. It's got a decent camera setup. It's kind of an ultra camera setup, but it's not quite ultra. So 50 megapixel shooters. It's got a periscope lens, three times zoom on it. You know, so it's a decent camera, decent screen. Yeah, it's a decent phone. It's still LCD under the hood though, of course, so it isn't it's better than basic LCD. It's nice to know they're trying their best, but I can't seem to manage long reading sessions on it yet. And it's got a nice eye care mode, which is kind of constantly reminding me that either the surroundings are too dark or I've got the screen on too bright or anything like that. It's a MediaTek 7400. It's got 12 gigabytes of RAM, up to 512 gigabytes of storage. That's this one. It's 5G. It's Android 15. It's just a mid-range phone apart from that. It's a mid-range phone with an eye care screen and a EMR stylus. And actually, that makes a good recipe for me. You've got those max ink modes. You've got the same other free modes as well. You've got the normal mode and you've got the sort of medium-ish mode, the light color mode, which I never use at all on either of them. But if you really wanted to make it look a bit more like Kaleido Free, then you could do that. They should be low flicker, both of them, you know, but it's still a backlight LCD. So if you're really sensitive to flicker, you might still find that there. It's had a weird launch and it's only really available still in Europe, South America apparently as well. I don't think it's even in the UK or US at the minute, despite there being a lot of interest in it, so which is odd. And the battery life is good for a phone, especially if you like put it into that max ink mode. And I leave it in max ink mode and it means that it doesn't notify me. It's like, you know, all that stuff I showed you about putting it into do not disturb mode, etc. Like, it's like just having that as a switch just there, and I really quite like that. And that's what I'd love to see Boox add to the side of their tablets, is just do that. And I know it wouldn't put it into black and white necessarily, or it could, it'd be quite cool. Like what it would just turn on the do not disturb, turn off all the other power users of the phone, and just generally make things a bit more focused and only let you access reading and notes really. So what about using them as a combo? Well, they're not really linked together any more than any other Android is, but because they're both Android, then you can use them as a combo. So you can use Android apps on both of them. Again, you've got your kind of desk notes, you've got your sketch pad with a slightly more comfortable LCD here, and you've got your notes here. And actually, I do quite a lot of writing on here. And one thing I was doing while I was preparing for this stream is I just went and opened up OneNote, and I was adding to my notes, the notes that I generally worked up on the books. I was able to carry on with a nice EMR stylus on my phone. And actually, I'm using it quite a lot. And I might daily drive this as just my planner. I tried that with my OLED Fold 3 with its EMR pen. I might just use this as my school planner entirely and see how I work out with that another time. Yeah, quite interesting there. So if you do need to use Google Keep, Evernote, Notion, Obsidian, all of those things, this setup might suit you. You can use all the normal Android ways to share things: Drive, Dropbox, email, all of those things. You know, you'll put your you'll stick the cable in from your other phone, and it will just zap all of your apps and accounts straight over to it, and you'll be away. And then yeah, you'll have a good time, I think, on it, as you would just about any other sort of ultra phone. So good job. I said also that I'd talk about the price, and actually this I think would be the cheapest kind of combo, especially right now with this being such a good deal. This is an outstanding deal right now on Black Friday, so check that out for the in the links in the description. If you just haven't got anything that you can write on with an EMR pen, or you haven't got a nice LCD tablet for your drawing and you fancy yourself doing some digital art, then definitely this is a recommend, certainly at that price. I'm obviously going to put a new battery in this one before we sum up and everything like that, but it's not ePaper. But if you want this kind of ePaper style screen, and you want to maybe try something to change your kind of habits with your phone, and you want a note taker, you want a pen on your phone, if you want to replace the current kind of phone that you're using and your current kind of tablet, or even like do some of the things that you normally do on your computer, your laptop or something, then it's a good shout to have a go with some of these. But they're not e-readers. And I think that's really important to me. I just can't read on them for long periods of time. Okay, I will be back with my like sum up comparison and then my conclusion in just about 30 seconds. And yeah, you tell me what you think. Out of these three, what do you think is going to win? What do you think is the best ink combo? Let's have a quick look at the poll as well and see what people are saying. If you haven't gone over to my channel homepage and looked at the poll there, then do. So if you go to posts, you'll find the poll there. Let's have a little look. Surely more than 4 people have voted. That can't be right. So out of the 4 people that have voted, we're half and half between the Note Air 5C and another option, which is the iPad Mini and Viwoods ePaper Mini. That's not an e-ink combo, but there we are. It's still there. Or the Manta and the Nomad. So yeah, go ahead and vote over there on the poll there. And I will just be back for the conclusion of this and tell you what my thoughts are about it and which one I think is the winner in just a few moments. Which one haven't we looked at so far? Let's have a look at them. Recently, my channel hit 50,000 subscribers, so thank you so much to each and every one of you who spend any time here watching my content. I'm always interested to hear what you've got to say, and I always value your comments and your questions to inform my content going forward. But I would absolutely love it if I could hit 100,000 this year, so please go ahead and make sure that you are subscribed, and let's run those numbers up to get to 100K in 2025. It's not happening though, is it? 100K is not going to happen this year so far. You see my rodism there, my more power to you and absolute respect to you, mate. They see my little bit I got from Rod there. I'm sure you maybe heard that. Oh, I've done that wrong, haven't I? And this kind of thing doesn't happen to Rod, does it? Or does it? You tell me. Have you seen not messing around with his getting his resolution wrong, is he? That's the one. There we go. And then we're back. So we're going to compare the two of them. We're going to do the quick comparison now, and do the quick comparison now, and then we will. Sorry. We're going to do the quick comparison in a moment because I'm going to look for your chat first, and then we will go ahead and sum up, and I'll tell you which one I actually think that I would go for as well. Can I just, Jay, warm welcome to you. The poll link, if you just go to my channel on YouTube, you will see it there on the posts tab there. So I haven't got a link for it directly, but yeah, out of everyone who's voted, everyone is voting for the Boox combo, which I think tells me everything I need to know about people on my channel. And yeah, let's have a quick look through. Do I have a period 1 tomorrow? No, I don't. My Palma doesn't replace my phone. It isn't meant to. It does, however, cut my screen time in key ways, meaning for reading. That's exactly it. That's exactly the way to think about that. It's like, I'm going to carry this thing with me instead of carrying a phone with me all the time. And when I pull it out to distract myself, I'm going to read another canto. I'm going to, read another chapter, whatever. Which are people looking into for Android tablets? One of the things I've done in a recent video, which will be out soon, is I've looked through different note-taking apps that people recommended and tried out a few. So stay tuned for that one. Nxtpaper Notepad, the Boox Go 10.3 HiBreak Pro, and a Kindle Color Soft. Good little combo. Absolutely. I think you've got a really good little look across all the kind of ePaper world there. The Kindle Scribe Premium Pen is 25% off. Yeah, absolutely. The Kindle Scribe, it's always, if you're interested in a Kindle Scribe, it's still great value, and definitely look to buy it on one of the big deal days or Black Fridays. So yeah, now would be a really good time for buying that there as well. Yeah, that was LCD with filters. Good question. Have I tested the Lamy stylus? Yeah, that was one of the first third-party styluses that I bought, and it is good. Absolutely, it's one of the better ones. I didn't like the nib it came with, so I used the reMarkable one nibs that I had lying around, and that made it just actually really, really good. Cool. Yeah, thank you for asking questions. Nice haircut, thanks so much. Yeah, IPS is better than OLED for the eyes, because OLED people complain about the flicker, and also like OLED is much brighter, so you can limit and I used to think to myself, well, OLED, you can turn the brightness way down. But then I actually tried reading on like dark mode with OLED, and I just found it was just really difficult. So I would really look into that. If you're not bothered by OLED, then fine. It's fine. It's nothing wrong with it. If it doesn't bother you, then don't think that you're doing anything wrong. But you might find later in life that, when your eyes are maybe a little bit older, that actually you find it a bit harder to look at OLED screens for long periods. And I certainly would make sure that I was controlling my brightness compared to the ambient kind of brightness. So just be aware of that with OLED. One thing about the also is the Quaco. Actually, take the back down. The better pen like the Ultra 60 has could have saved the Palma 2 Pro for me. Yeah, I don't disagree. It should have been a better pen, but I think they kind of said, well, people want a Palma with a pen. We can do that. We can do that now and give it to people. I mean, they're not going to write out and say, but we'll be back in a couple of years with a better solution. But I hope they'll be back in a year or two with a better solution for how you can actually store this pen. Just make it part and parcel, because that's just a pretty much off-the-shelf pen. And this design of phone, it's pretty much off-the-shelf design of phone as well. And that's the thing they've gone for here, is like, right, we can put this out now with pretty much kit of parts, and it'll be a good price, and people can buy it because they want an OLED. They want an e-ink phone with a stylus with 4G. We can make that happen with basically off-the-shelf parts, and we can make it happen at an okay price. And there we go. But if they'd have done a custom job, it would have taken them like a year and a half to market. I think you're talking about this thing. Yeah, it is large. That's the one thing. I mean, look at it's almost as big as the reMarkable 2. And I think that is an issue actually with it. And but what the idea of it is that you can kind of like, it's this modular case, so you can just take that out. You can take this off, although it's not easy to take off or put back on, so I just maybe won't bother at this point. But yeah, it's quite a big phone. And coming from a foldable phone, I quite like it. It's a big phone, but I don't like the aspect ratio. I prefer the aspect ratio of my Z Fold. Really good, thank you. Just departing super computing 25 now. Great conference, lots of incredible things happening in the scientific computing world. Would love to hear more about that. I don't know if you made any content on that, Jay, when you were there, or make us a bit of a summary of some things you found out about. A bit really cool video to watch. Palma 2 Pro or Nxtpaper 60 Ultra, which one is better for changing normal phone habits and being distraction free? Palma as a complement, as TPO as a substitute? Well, that is the question, absolutely. So yeah, I personally think if you buy this, you'll probably end up using it for the same things you use your phone for now. That's the TCL Nxtpaper. It'd just be like a matte screen, a screen that looks a bit fancy. Whereas if you buy the Palma 2 Pro, you're going to be able to say to yourself, no, but you're going to like have them both, have your old phone and this on the side, and you're going to say, today I'll pick up the Palma, and I'll go and I'll know I've got my messaging apps and things like that as well. And I'll just take this and I'll read on it rather than that. So I think that's better for changing your habit in a way. Best still, if you really wanted to go cold turkey on your old phone, then get something like the HiBreak or something that can actually be a phone as well. That's what I would say. Want the 60 Ultra real bad, but still can't buy one in the US. Yeah. So we just chatted about that. Good to see you all. You Ultra 60. Missed most of the session. In respect to the RM ecosystem, I find iPhone app handy for text and audio capture as well. Oh, you can capture audio into the iPhone app of reMarkable, can you? That's cool. Good to see everyone. Yeah, I've got everyone here from the rants about tech live streams, haven't I? Thanks for that. Appreciate that. Yeah, how many more people? Yeah, vote before I tell you what I think. Oh wow, we have got one vote for the XP Pen Magic Note pad. Normally I get far more votes on these things. Maybe this one's just a little bit less controversial, or maybe it's because I didn't put images on and people haven't stopped it. Especially for the value to cost ratio, talking about the reMarkable too. Yeah, we all like reMarkable, but we don't like the limits. Yeah, that's a really good point. So the limitations of it mean that we're not, we don't love it. Will there be a Tab X C too soon? No, probably a year after it was released. I think it was kind of springtime. Which do I prefer, Markable Pro Marker or Marker Plus? I think I kind of prefer the normal marker actually, but I don't dislike either. Yeah, I don't really need the eraser. I don't really use an eraser that much. I just click undo, and the gesture of double finger tap is cool for undo there as well. And hello to you as well. Right, okay, so very awesome people, and let's talk about the last one. Hopefully this is just going to work smoothly now and just come back as it normally does. I know Rod's thinking to himself, you need to sort your setup kit. I know I do, but it's all cash, isn't it? I think I was wondering about, I've got a review of this coming soon, Rod, which is YoloCam S3, I think it's called. I was wondering about just using that as my top-down camera and just being done with this. But then I have to deal with rotating it and everything like that. So it's difficult, isn't it? Getting these things right. And I know I should just have an uninterrupted power supply there as well. But this normally doesn't happen. I have to stop that camera and then put it back in. And then it works after that. But it's just like, that normally doesn't actually happen at all. It's normally just straight back when I turn the camera back on. But anyway, it doesn't matter, does it? We're all here. We're all having fun. So what about the last bits then? So I'm going to kind of sum up the 3 combos now and tell you which one I think is better. So before I just do that and tell you which one I think is better out of these 3 combos, there's a couple of other combos that are worth mentioning, and you've talked a little bit about them as well. Here's why I didn't include them in this kind of chat. So first one, the Kobo Ellipsa and Kobo Clara. Well, the Kobo Clara, is that right? That's the one that has the pen input as well. And neither of them are phone sized. So okay, I've gone for sort of phone-ish sized tablets and the larger sizes. Of course, there's the Supernote and the Supernote Manta, but the Supernote Manta isn't the kind of pocketable Here's the 7.8, which I still kind of consider in the, I still kind of consider it in the same kind of category as that mid-sized tablet, really. Viwoods are coming out with a reader soon as well, and I know there's been some reviews of that already and some first looks of that already, but I haven't got my hands on that, so that's why I haven't included the Viwoods and the Viwoods reader. I actually think that would make a good comparison in this kind of combo, but it would take me even longer to get it finished. And then lastly, the Bigme HiBreak Pro and the B1051C Pro. I haven't got the B1051C Pro, and my B1051C had issues, so I haven't included that because I pretty much just discounted that and haven't hardly talked about it afterwards. Even though it was a good tablet with good refresh, the pen had real issues, and so I'm not including that. So I'm kind of waiting for the next releases on the Viwoods and the Bigme, but I think they are compelling options for combos as well if you're already in their kind of ecosystems. And I think that the HiBreak Pro could make a shout for being the best sort of this size phone size, and the best certainly can make a shout for the best e-ink phone. So let's just have a look. The overall positioning, okay, reMarkable, Paper Pro and Move. If you want pure writing and sketching system, if you want the big thing on your desk, and then a pocket, I've done that wrong. Then a big thing, sorry, if you want then a smaller thing with you, kind of pocket-ish, it's a journalist's note bag really is what you're looking for there, I think. Then this can work really well. Colors there, but it's a kind of bonus, I think. It's not a kind of main act. It's only for circling things, highlighting things. That's all really. It's for like purists in terms of note taking. It's for e-ink beginners as well. I think that's an important point as well. But really, I think it's about what you want to give up, really. And if you're looking to replace an iPhone and an Android phone or a laptop, then this can't do it. There's only one of these combos that can replace an iPhone or an Android phone, really. So what else? And the Boox Note Air 5C. If you're a kind of user of an Android already, a user of a PC, if you're a tech user, if you're Jay, then then this is going to be the one for you. If you like tinkering with things, if you need full fat Android, if you want one machine on your desk that can do all those Android things, then this is great. And then one in your pocket, and this is the most pocketable of all of them, both being capable of using any different apps, both great color, then I think this is a really good shout as well. So that's that one there. This is if the only thing that annoys you about your phone is the screen, if the only thing that annoys you about using Android is the screen, then these are the answer, because they are just Android tablets, but with really great e-ink screens that just work. And then lastly, the XP Pen Magic Notepad and the TCL Nxtpaper 60 Ultra. If you want like a proper speed Android, if you want to sort of LCD, but with a kind of paper flavor just smattered on top, a paper texture, a matte finish, if that's enough, then these are fine for you. These are also some of the best for the digital artists that are out there as well, because you've got that full color experience there as well, and great EMR pens on both of them. If you're looking for a new phone, then look at this. And if you fancy one that's got a proper EMR pen built into it that can be garaged into it, then I think this is a really good shout, actually. So if you want to draw and you want to take notes on your actual phone, then these are good shouts, actually. So the reMarkable can't possibly replace your phone and laptop. The Boox can replace some of what you do on your phone and laptop, and the Nxtpaper screens can replace your phone and partially replace your laptop. But if you actually like your phone and you're happy, you don't want to replace it, then these two can give you, they can let you go into work mode on a screen that's really comfortable to use. And I think I like that idea. I think I prefer that idea that, okay, I can have my phone and everything like that, and then when I actually want to focus, I can go into these. And obviously there's only one option for me at the end of the day. there's only one winner anyway out of these ones, because I am actually currently using the Nxtpaper Ultra as my phone, and probably I'm going to get more use, like as a time out of this thing, but that will probably be time spent with YouTube, either playing in the background as I do something, or like actually watching YouTube on it. That is my guilty pleasure. Who here likes YouTube, by the way? Like, I don't know if I've got any other YouTube fans in the audience, but I really do like YouTube. I don't find that to be a desperately negative impact on my life. What I do find is a negative impact on my life on my phone is all the other distractions that I have in the kind of carousel of things. And so now you can see the only notifications I'm getting are from those few apps that I've chosen to allow to be open here, which is my YouTube studio, my Kindle, a bit of chess, something to draw on, and actually that's the idea of this phone for me, is just take away, just decide to use it in a more mindful way. And when I open that and I think, oh, okay, I've got it on, I've left it on focus mode, so I don't need to look at it then, do I? Or, oh, I've left it on focus mode. Okay, well, I'll look into my notes then, or actually no, I can spend 15 minutes playing a game of chess or something like that, or I can try and read a bit, but I just can't find myself getting into reading on that screen. So actually, that is, if you want to replace your phone with something that will let you do that mindful thing, then it's pretty good. But really, you're still going to have to use a phone. So it's going to have, the combo is going to have to include this phone in one of these two. And I think for me, when I go into work mode, I personally, most of my work is going to be within some kind of cloud app. So I don't think it's going to surprise many of you, and many of you seem to have the same opinion as me, if we go by this poll at least, that this is the better combo. And when I go into work mode, and I've only got one vote for the reMarkable Pro and Paper Pro Move, this is where I want to work, simply because I can put my notes into the places and into the forms that I want to do. And I'll go back to what I've always said about books, is that books can be altered to my workflow. Books can fit into my workflow, whereas I have to be happy with the workflow that's set out by reMarkable if I want to use these. Absolutely brilliant, but I want to at least replace some of what I can do on my phone and my laptop with e-ink, because I love looking at e-ink as well. I'm looking forward to the lack of surprise everyone's had when Kit's chosen the Boox combo. But actually, I think this combo is really, really compelling now, and I think this is absolutely fabulous. And sure, I love lots of other e-ink tablets as well, but I think this is the kind of one for me, and this is what I'm using as my work combo for the next little while at least. Yeah, let me know what you all think. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Why don't you? Quite a little bit more that I want to say about, who should buy each combo. You should ignore my advice and my preference if you're the type of person who likes to write, to sketch, to mark up PDFs, and want your tech to get out of the way. If you don't want to have to menu dive to get it to do what you want, then definitely this is a thing. The distraction-free thing is real. If you're happy using Word on a laptop, why do you need to use Word on an e-ink tablet? If you're happy working the way that you work in your laptop and your phone, these won't replace your laptop or phone. They'll just replace paper, so stick with that. That's absolutely fine. You've got a nice big canvas on your desk. You've got a small capture pad on the go. You've got seamless sync. You've got the same pen tools everywhere. It's really good. It's just not a one thing for all device. So, and if you need to be able to reference web pages or your own kind of knowledge vault, then you can't really do that on the reMarkable, unless you've made the reMarkable your knowledge vault. That's the only way to do it, really. You've also got that closed ecosystem, subscriptions and things like that. Another subscription in your life, do you really need that? So that's the people who should buy that are the ones who want just that simplicity, really, and are very happy with what it can do. You should buy the books, though. Most people on here, I imagine, should probably buy the Boox combo. That's if you're a knowledge worker, you're a techie, a productivity person, somebody who wants e-ink, but you also want apps on it as well. if your workflow is like note taking, like typing maybe on e-ink, heavy reading, and the e-reader options on Boox, the e-reader is fabulous. Been covered quite a lot. The reading features are absolutely A+. If you need to use multiple different cloud services, like if you need to use Microsoft and Google cloud services, then you can do that here on Boox. So I would definitely look at that. If you have things in your like reading queue, if you use something that stacks up web articles for reading for later, you can do that here. If you also want to be able to like use WhatsApp and do chats on e-ink, then the Palma Pro is a great shout as well there as well. Maybe you need your work Slack or something, we can do that on the Boox. You can put the same apps on both, okay? If you like to experiment, if you like to try different notes apps, you don't want to be held into one ecosystem for the rest of your device's life, then you've got that. If you're a tinkerer, if you prioritize versatility and customization, then this is absolutely great. But if you want the like cleanest, like if you want the best paper-like screen, if you want, you know, if you just want black and white reading, then probably you can avoid these two certainly, because you've got the Kaleido. That darker background's been well covered as well. If you don't like the complexity and it puts you off, if you hate learning new tech, if learning new tech gives you the fears, then you probably just stay away from this. But if you're happy with fiddling with Android settings, if you know Android well enough, then you'll be fine here. And yeah, I think I can recommend it to you if that's you. And then lastly, if you're not, you know, if you're not desperate for e-ink in your life, but you like the idea of a more intentional paper-like experience, then these are good options. And they'll be easy for you to get along with because they're sort of basic Android on LCD. So there's no kind of e-inkish quirks there. You know, you will find it a bit gentler on your eyes than OLED and IPS. You'll have a good time on it. You know, matte screens are something you have to pay. Matte screens are something you have to pay a lot of money for to go, you know, on an iPad. You have to get the Pro version of the iPad to go ahead and get these, to get a matte screen like this. And it is the same thing. The nano texture is just the same basic idea as this, you know. So you'd have to get the iPad Pro to buy that. You know, if you want fast and color displays, 90 hertz, 120 hertz. If you want great pen performance for sketching, for annotation, then these are great. If you want full Android apps, then of course these can do that. If you want video, talking about YouTube, if the color representation is critical to your work, then you've got that sort of reliable coverage of sRGB and all the Adobe stuff, then you'll be fine here on these as well. But if you want e-ink, then you don't want these. If you want reflective, pigment-based technology, then e-ink is the thing for you. If you want a screen that doesn't glow at you, then you don't buy these. So if you're sensitive to backlights and everything like that, you don't bother with these. But it is a good, comfortable writing or sketching pad, both of them. So what do you think then? Paper Pro and Move is, you know, it's got a really joined up ecosystem. I think for most of us, though, having the most capable set of these devices, and I'll go back to this. We've said a lot that gallery is very impressive, e-ink wise, like it looks good, but actually I think the colors on this guy, on the Palma 2 Pro, actually really do knock it out of the park. And I think that, yeah, it's not quite the color of Spectra 6, sure, but actually, I mean, look at this is a totally blue photo here, and I think the blues actually look better on the Superman just there. The color on the Gallery 3 looks good. And some colors look better on Gallery 3, I will give it that. Of course, the Spectra 6 can look the most like real colored images, though, real colored photos. And certainly across the whole gamut, you're going to have the better time on the Spectra 6. I personally I think that the Palma 2 Pro screen looks absolutely fabulous. And I think Kaleido's not actually as broken as we once sort of thought it was. Seems to not want to focus right now. Yeah, the Kaleido 3 looks great, and it's so much quicker than the others. I can have it on a quicker mode than this, but you'll notice I get more ghosting if I do that. Come on, go into the e-ink settings, please. We'll go into it, will it? Go from the top then. Where is it? E-ink wise, there we are. And I can go into speed mode now. And then I don't lose much of the color, but I just lose a bit of the crispness, and I get a bit more ghosting there. But it can, look, it can actually do animations there as well, which is useful for scrolling about, but certainly I liked it the way it was there. Okay, I'm going to have a little last look in the chat, and then I'm going to call it. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Are you kind of, you know, focused and analog feeling reMarkable Paper Pro? Are you something you can actually run your digital life on, which is the Boox combo? Did you see it just do its refresh there? Look. It's a lovely thing, that. Or are you more of a, you know, still want something that feels like a normal phone and tablet, but you want a slightly more paper-like experience? And that was the Nxtpaper one. So what were you laughing about here? I need to have a look at these. I think OLED is the only true OLED there. So I don't know. I need to look at AMOLED, OLED, and WOLED. That's a definite Rodish video there. I reckon. Have a little look at that for us. TCL 11 has no palm recognition. Gosh, it must have. The XP Pen has one big disadvantage for the TCL. Oh yeah, it's because it's a capacitive stylus, probably, isn't it? So capacitive styluses are going to have worse palm rejection than EMR ones, because they can't differentiate so easily the touch. Can't differentiate so easily the touch between the pen and just the finger touch. Keep the bokeh. I think you're thinking, yeah, stick with the big sensor. Test my pens on Boox Note Max. What's your favorite pen for the Max? I'm just happy. Am I alone that I didn't mind the Boox Pen 2 or whatever it was called? There's nothing special, but it's not bad. Yeah, so I wouldn't worry about that. Team reMarkable here. There you are. Good man. The Viwoods reader. Yeah, it's an interesting one to look at. Boox could add a keyboard case to that. I just don't think they needed to go down that route with that particular device. If you're Jay, yeah, this is what they're laughing about. I think I have to throw in a comment here. I'm very limited about what I can carry. So my ideal pair is cross worlds with the Move and the Palma. Best of both worlds in my eyes. Yeah, I think that's an interesting one, because you're then saying, well, I've got the two different things. I've got the Focus, and I've got the Palma for the pure reading and the tiny factor. Missed out defending the trash talk on the Palma 2 Pro from Rod. I think it's great, Rod, by the way. I think it's an absolutely brilliant device, and I'm sure that it will do quite well, actually. I think there'll be a lot of people who actually, because if you don't want to get rid of your iPhone, why do you need 4G, 5G on this? There are loads of people who loved the Palma just being their e-reader, so I don't see, I think that it's a good device for that reason. I like that combo, actually. It reminds me of the days I used to carry around my 10-inch MacBook Air and my phone. Yeah, interesting one there. Best in combos, all of them. Jay don't want that smoke, and this is what we're right. Okay, thank you. You ever try adjusting those refresh settings on your Macs? USI has gone bad from the Go 7 to fine, but not great on the Palma 2. Yeah, absolutely. It is just acceptable, is something I've been saying about it. Yeah, now these actually, they have much longer lives than most technology does, e-ink tablets, and most e-ink tablet companies are committed to supporting them for a longer time. So I don't think they're quite disposable. Viwoods eReader is a good option, but there's no link to the tablets in the same ecosystem. It's lightweight and nice looking, but there are no cameras on it. It can be used as a phone too. Because yeah, it's going to have 4G, but not a lot else of sort of phone type things. And that was one of the issues that I didn't like about the Viwoods Mini. Excuse me, be right back.
Wait, tell me what to
The Boox Note Max. If you're a professional and you need a big screen for reading A4 documents, this is the choice for you. It's a 13.3-inch display with a high resolution. That's Carta 1300 e-ink with 300 ppi and great contrast. And what's more, it's an incredibly versatile tablet because it's got full Google Play Store and access to all Android apps. However, it's big, so that might reduce the portability, and it doesn't have a front light, and that could be limiting if you do need to work in low light environments. But if you need to work on large documents and reference them regularly, and you want the option to go into split screen mode, this could well be the tablet for you. Yeah, it was a great tablet, that one. So yeah, it's an interesting point that you're making there. And the Viwoods Mini didn't originally link with the Viwoods AI paper. I don't know if they've got that much better yet, but I will be revisiting the Viwoods again when that one comes along. Note Max users stuck on a buggy OS which hasn't been updated in over a year. And it's right up to date, isn't it? Because I was using it on the new OS when I was in IFA. Watch the video I posted. The company is dodgy beyond belief and nobody should be buying them. Okay, I'll have a look, Michael, thank you. Probably referring to the yearly release cycle. Not sure here. Yeah, sorry, I heard the whole thing. You go back to the start and I will take you through all the different 2 hours of it. Note Max was actually updated again yesterday, the first update. Yeah, it's definitely been updated. Gosh, what's going on here? I don't know how that one maybe just timed out. And Rod's again thinking, get yourself the update to your streaming setup. I know, Rod, but it's the thing is like what else to spend money on, you know? That's the thing, isn't it? Like, yeah, I will look into getting a better streaming setup, Rod. All right, Rod. All right. Returning the Palm 2 Pro due to screen too dark. Just received the Palm 2 and 50-50 if I should keep it or wait for Palm 3. Yeah, interesting one. No official 4.1, even more buggy beta release. Again, watch the video. Way more than £1,000 in this disposable tech. It actually breaks my heart a little. Is Michael the guy? Oh yeah, for disposable tech. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm not disagreeing that books are not the most what's the word? The sustainable of all of them. I don't disagree with that. But I don't think they're any less sustainable than any large sort of tablet or phone company. I think that reMarkable and Supernote are kind of standouts in that respect, and I think they should be applauded for it. But I don't think that because books are just like most other tech companies, they should be, you know, that I don't think that they should be. All right, we'll all just watch the video and we'll let you know what you think, Michael. Thank you. I really appreciate your contribution, everyone on the stream, though. There we are. Thanks for highlighting all these. I have Kindle Scribe and love it, but it's not quite what I want. Yeah, because you probably want some apps and some other choices, you know. So definitely time to have a good hard look at books. You could start here. That would be a great complement to your Kindle Scribe. How about the ghosting issue with Note Max, which the video proves is a software issue? Hint: Note Max 2 is coming out soon. It's a hardware issue. I'm pretty sure it is, and maybe they will. But you know, it's not to say that it's the wrong thing for somebody to have released a device that they thought was as good as it could be, to receive market feedback, and then decide to update it and release a successor to it. That isn't like, you know, that isn't wrong. That's just how things are improved. You know, the way that books have operated from being a very small company is like putting together a large enough run that they're going to sell enough that they're going to cover the cost of the run that they've just done. And then they're going to come back and think, well, what was not so good about that? Let's change that. Hence why we've got the Note Air 5C, right? But the Note Air 5C is discernibly better than the Note Air 4C. They've decided this time, well, actually, we can do it. We can put a keyboard case on. Oh, we can do it. We can put volume buttons on. Oh, we can do it. We can put a hole in the case that everyone's been asking for. You know, so we can improve the pen. But again, they didn't quite get it perfectly right. Okay, so they've improved things, and then they'll wait for the market feedback, and then in a year's time we'll have a Note Air 6C. They're not the only company to do this. You know, this is exactly what Apple do. This is exactly what Samsung do. But they're just much larger companies with much bigger budgets, and they are also capable of working 2 or 3 cycles ahead, whereas Boox is only really capable at its size of working on the next release at any given time. You have to, at some point, if you're going to release something, you have to at some point say, well, that's ready for this year's release, and then move on and start planning the next. It's just the same thing. If I could spend 2 months planning and filming every video, but then you wouldn't have almost daily content on your e-ink tablets. So I don't get I don't get it perfectly right every time, but you know, I do what I produce what I think is good enough to be of value to somebody. And right now, no, you shouldn't go ahead and replace your Note Air 4C unless you desperately want the keyboard case, unless you desperately want the volume buttons, unless you desperately want that slightly better e-ink. But maybe you should look at replacing your Note Air 2 or 2 Plus or something like that now. So it's up to you when you buy the tech. You buy what it is and when it's advertised. Just because they've made a new release doesn't mean that they are, how did you describe them? Disposable, or that they're a shady company. They're just a company making products that you can choose whether you buy it or not. So that's my 2 cents on that. You're probably a lot further in this chat because you've been having this conversation as well here. And yeah, the Note Max had ghosting issues, but they weren't massive. They were something I noticed like day one. It's in my first video. And I was like, oh, that's a bit odd. There's a bit more ghosting than I've seen on other Carter 1300 screens. But other companies have found the same thing with the Carter 1300 screen. You know, it's only really Viwoods that have got that screen to sing. And that's the interesting thing there. So maybe it is a software issue for that. But mine had to go away to be fixed. And it's still waiting to come back. It's kind of gone backwards and forwards in transit. I think there was an issue there. And it had to go away because it was a hardware change they had to do. So there we are. It's, you know, it's not like it wasn't a broken device. It just had more ghosting than some other devices that were out there, some other options. It was as good as they could make at that point. It was usable. You know, Note Max owners have loved it. You know, tell me if you really like your Boox Note Max. I can tell you there's many people out there that do, and I really liked working on it. Voya loves it. It says it doesn't bother him. It's just the benefits outweigh that negative. It's an issue, but everything's got an issue. I mean, I don't like the Apple ecosystem. Doesn't mean they're bad. Doesn't mean that they're a shady company because I don't like them. 5C, that's probably the Rod. That is, if you're still there, Rod, that's probably the biggest rant I've ever had. But I do appreciate you, Michael, taking the time to tell us your opinions. Every time they release broken hardware, promise to fix, don't, and then release a new iteration. Every time people hand over more money and defend it, weird, just weird. But that's how business works, Michael. But yeah, other people feel the pain, absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad it's been interesting. Note Max is having display issues. It's just a slight bit more. It's a slight bit more ghosting than some other ones. It launched with ghosting issues, not a big deal. I promised to fix it a year ago, and it's still stuck on 4.0 with so many bugs. Take a video of the miraculous Note Max without ghosting because everyone else has it. I think if you bought a Note Max like quite recently, like within the last sort of 3 months, it will actually have the hardware fix already in it. Just the same ghosting problem it always had. Kit and Onyx yeah, so that's what hasn't happened yet. I think it's been fixed. I think it's just been passed back and forwards in transit, but they found it again, and hopefully it'll come back soon. And I'll tell you what it does there. Why do you not mention Play integrity for devices? I'm surprised many have poor Google Play integrity. It's just not something I've ever thought to check, and I think I probably could check it, and perhaps I should. But again, the great video I saw that went into that detail also found the same integrity issues in like the Lenovo devices. So we can have a look at that. Something I realized about TCL Nxtpaper 11 Plus, if your palm is in place, it's fine. If you happen to touch it a bit on the side, it scrolls, opens menus. So with the capacitive styluses, what you have to do is just be really careful to put the pen nib down slightly before your hand, because as soon as it recognizes, oh, that's the pen, then it will ignore everything in the shadow of your hand. Yeah, that's what it will try and do. So just try and train your hand to put the pen down slightly before your palm. So pen palm rather than at once, and you should be fine there. But yeah, I had palm rejection issues on the Wacom tablets that I was using, not major ones, but you know, and they're the absolute kings of pen tech, aren't they? Boox Go 7 Gen 2 versus new Palma, screen brightness similar. The new Palma blows it away, frankly, but we'll have a look. I'll do a comparison video on that at some point. Yeah, there you go. There you go. So they can't keep Play integrity because every ink device fails. Google's can you display enough colors test. This is why Bigme keeps getting HiBreaks recertified. Thanks for that. Interesting to clear that up. Yeah, not sure which one device you're talking about, but yeah, I agreed. Black Friday is a great time to buy things. I do find myself going on my Go 10x3 for note taking, love it, but I also rediscovered my love for using pen and ink for art. I wonder if the SuperNote art app would do something right. Yeah, if you're a lover of the pen and ink experience, then definitely get your hands on a SuperNote and have a go at that. It's grown on me as a business device. Which one are we talking about there, you guys? Is Note Max about to get a 4.1 update? Not sure. At least by 27th February 2027, stuff needs to be more repairable as long as you want to sell devices in the EU. So looking forward to that. Theoretically, yeah, but yeah, it's whether we'll actually get inferior devices in the EU or whether companies will it be worth their while. I mean, I know the EU is like it's the largest block, isn't it? Still, buying power wise. Haven't tried that one, discussed that earlier on, why that was. I don't have the paper reader, but it's coming. Will we see an 8-inch reader? I hope so. I don't understand why there's so few 7.8-inch readers out there at this point. Why it seems like Boox have kind of ignored that size for some time, and I don't know why that is. iPhone and Android plus TCL X C Nxtpaper and Palma 2 is perfect combo. Very nice. Love that. Good upgrade rule. Skip a generation before you upgrade. Yeah, absolutely. Just like, you know, that I don't think this Note Air 5C is going to sell as well as the Note Air 3C did, because the Note Air 3C was quite, not revolutionary is not the right word, but it was a brand new thing to bring color e-ink to the Note family of devices, whereas this is just a small iterative jump. So I think that is good advice. Thank you so much. Hope that really helps. And thank you. I would just be happy if our current devices were supported before the next iteration. Okay, yeah, don't disagree. I don't disagree. I think they do. I think they do a they do a job of their customer support and changing things. And actually, when I've had issues and they haven't even known it's me, I've just done it through the customer feedback, they've actually fixed it in the next update. So they are reasonably responsive, but there's probably they have to weigh up how much they can do, how much R&D budget they have versus how much like actual hardware and sales budget they have as well. So I think that the kind of development of software and development of hardware are two sort of parallel branches, and at some point those two things have to come together to make a device for market. And where those two kind of lines are, one might be ahead of the other one or the other way around. And they have to just decide, right, wherever we are right now, we've got to put this device out. So you've got to agree this is the final specs and this is the software. And maybe they won't be able to to perfectly marry for the entire lifetime of that device. And I thought about this recently, like the one reason why my Z Fold 3 lasted for so long was that of course I was always getting the latest Android, and you know, that's been a 4-year-old device and it's been put onto the latest Android every single time. And it's clearly like, well, Samsung must be willing to pay that extra license, or they're getting chips that can work for the extra, for that time with the extra Android. And you know, that's meant that that device has had that longevity. Whereas now Boox are like, well, we're releasing this device now with Android 15, but probably these two devices will stay on Android 15. And it kind of means, Michael, you're absolutely right, that they then don't, it's then another fork that they have to, they've forked their ecosystem again. So all the devices that were on Android 11 or Android 12 or Android 13, suddenly they have to work extra hard if they want to put the new features onto those devices. So, all right, that's annoying, isn't it? Then that costs them a lot more money in terms of time to write that code, port that across, check it works. Whereas perhaps if they'd invested that money on allowing all their devices to keep up to date with the latest Android, then maybe that would you know, that would allow them just to run one ecosystem, one set of software, and just update that more easily across all their devices. So I don't feel like I'm being dismissive, and you know, thank you very much for your contribution, but I don't think we have to sort of vilify the company for what they're doing because we're not maybe satisfied when we've just paid a lot of money for a device, and a year later there's a new device which fixes some of the frustrations we had with our old device. I mean, that's exactly what that development cycle does, is it fixes the frustrations. You put it out there, you all right, you might have done a focus group of a few hundred people, you might have sent it to a few reviewers, and not even that, it's a done finished device by the time you sent it to reviewers, but you've done a focus group with a few hundred people with your prototype. Maybe you've tried your best to get a few things sorted, any issues, and then you send it out and you bought it for you know, people have bought it for £1,000, and you've had a few 100,000 people buy the device. Maybe, I don't know what the numbers are like on Boox devices, but then you get all that feedback and suddenly people are using it for not just a few weeks to try it out, they're using it for months and years, and they say, no, I hate it when it does this, and that's annoying that it does that, and the pen touches the thing, and the silly flappy thing which I still haven't solved. You know, all the things that the feedback you get when you go en masse. And yeah, they then act on that and fix those things in the next devices. So yeah, thanks very much for your feedback, everyone. Thanks very much, Adam, for joining. Do appreciate that. I look forward to seeing you on and around my channel, and I don't disagree with that either. I think that the way that like reMarkable are going, and Supernote, and there's another company that are doing this quite well, it escapes me just now, that seem to be going like a 2-year for each size, you know, like, so I think we'll start to see, and I've thought this for some time with reMarkable, like every 2 years, you know, you wouldn't be surprised to see a new device at this large size, and then next year you'd have a new device at this size, and then the year after that you'd have a new device at the large size, and you just go in that kind of cadence. I think that makes more sense for these e-ink devices. Makes more sense than it does, you know, a company like Samsung that definitely do sell not hundreds of thousands but millions of devices. They can go at that rate, and they can afford to have things planned and things being tested multiple years in advance. So the features that they already know the features we're getting in 2 years' time on the Samsungs, and so do Apple, and they're just refining them. So of course it's going to be higher perfection when it gets there. Whereas Boox are, you know, cobbling together devices, frankly, and I think they're doing a really good job of it. I think they're making some really nice, and they're making things which are really useful. You know, that's the thing. I find this really, really useful. Yeah, sure. Could it look not exactly like every other phone used to look 5 years ago? Sure, it could. But then it would be too much for their small team to design. You know, yeah, sure. Could they have taken their time and made a garage stylus? Yeah, sure, they could have done. But this is basically the same USI type stylus that companies are pumping out in their millions, but with Boox stamped on the back of it. But Boox have tried out a whole bunch, seen what they can make at an appropriate price, made it work well with this tiny e-ink screen, and then snapped out in the market. So that's how this thing gets that's how this thing gets worked. Not sure what you mean by that, my buddy. And it is evening time here, so I will see you all another time. It's been a longer stream than I planned it to be, and you're looking at my pick for the combo, the e-ink combo, the best e-ink combo that you can get right now. The Boox Note Air 5 C and the Boox Palma 2 Pro. Cheers, appreciate you.